Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, of course, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, RingsideNews.com. All the post-WrestleMania news is starting to wind down, and we're looking ahead towards Extreme Rules, the next WWE pay-per-view, or should I say, special event, because there are no more pay-per-views. Everything's on the network now, whatever. Got your questions here from spring.me/AaronRift. So let's get started here with the first one today from Phil Jackson Fan 85. And he asks, since Evolution reformed on Raw, does this mean the Ruthless Aggression era is coming back? Just like the Attitude Era questions, there's only one way to answer this. No! Anyways, moving on to the serious questions here. This one comes from Mega Drive 144. What did you think about the return of Evolution? I'm happy to see it. I'm thrilled that Evolution is back together. I talked about this a few weeks ago. I actually brought up the idea of Evolution reforming, and I'm all for it, no questions. I think that it makes perfect logical sense in the storyline. Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista, they all have a common enemy. They have common enemies in The Shield. They have common enemy in Daniel Bryan, so it only makes sense for the three of them to get together for business reasons only, of course, and take care of their foes. And like Triple H said, when the three of them are together as a unit, there's nothing stopping them. So I think it's a good heel faction evolution and bringing them back. You know, you have the nostalgia, and also it serves a purpose in the storylines. You can have faction versus faction now with Evolution versus the Shield at Extreme Rules, and I'm happy about it. The one thing that I wasn't happy about was the crowd reaction. For whatever reason, don't know if it's because there were a lot of families in Birmingham, Alabama, but the crowd just did not react all that much when Evolution's music hit. And I think maybe if they had done the Evolution reunion last week on Raw, I think you would have gotten a better reaction, or hold it off a couple weeks until they're in the UK, that would have gotten a tremendous reaction. But in this city, it didn't happen. So that was a bit disappointing. The announcing sucked too. I mean, the announcers, they were very subdued and didn't really react all that much. I mean, I was thinking of JR in my head as Evolution was coming out. He would have been screaming. He would have been like, by God, King Evolution. He would have just been all over the top and selling it like something big was going down, and Michael Cole's like, oh, Evolution's back, and I wasn't a fan of the announcers' reaction at all. But overall, I'm happy that Evolution is back. This question comes from Minor Chris 123. Hey Aaron, love the show. Now that Evolution is reunited, do you see Ric Flair coming back, or even a fourth rookie member? Keep up the good work, from Memphis. I think that if Ric Flair was going to be part of Evolution, he would have been on Raw. Maybe he would have come out at the end. But there's always a possibility he'll come back and he'll play some sort of role. I just don't know if he's going to be a regular, or if it really is necessary for him to be part of the storyline. It's three guys versus three guys. And you have Stephanie there as the manager or whatever. So, I mean, it's not really needed to have Ric Flair there. Although, on Twitter, it was trending, where's Flair? And, people are going to want to know what happened to Ric Flair, what's his take on all this. So, maybe they will bring him back and have him make an appearance. But for me personally, I would rather see, if they're going to have a fourth person there, I'd like to see a new member of Evolution. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, the idea of Evolution reforming, having a fourth guy be the future. Triple H is in the Ric Flair role, the past legend superstar. Then you have the current superstars, Randy Orton and Batista, and then you have the future superstar. So I would like to see that scenario play out, where there's a new member, and then eventually you can have them split up and have Orton and Batista feud with a new guy. So I'd like to see that happen. Obviously, it's not going to be Cesaro now since he's with Paul Heyman, but there's plenty of other talented guys that are up and coming on the roster that you can have in that spot. All right, this next one comes from Philly Fanatic 1. Hey Aaron, what did you think about the decision to have Kane wear the mask again? Will we see the Big Red Monster, or a repeat of 2011-2012, which was a complete letdown? And are you in favor of Kane versus Bryan at Extreme Rules? I actually am in favor of Kane versus Bryan at Extreme Rules. I know some people are saying, really, they're going to have Kane versus Daniel Bryan. You know, I don't really care about that match. But think about it this way. By doing this match, it shows that Daniel Bryan is, in fact, going to be a long-term champion. And, you know, I don't see Kane winning the title or anything like that. I think he's just a heel challenger to Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan will beat him and move on to the next challenger. Like I said in a previous video, there's lots of people you can have Daniel Bryan feud with as champion, and you know, you already have that storyline with Kane versus Daniel Bryan. They were Team Hell No, and then Kane turned on him. So you can do this angle now where Kane goes back to the dark side, and you know, he's a serious threat to Daniel Bryan in the WWE title. One match I'd love to see at Extreme Rules, actually, I was thinking about possible matches. Don't want to see the Inferno match or the Fire match, Ring of Fire, whatever the hell they were calling it. I'd like to see a Boiler Room Brawl. I don't think there's been one in a very long time. I don't even remember the last Boiler Room Brawl. You know, that's one of Kane's specialties. Well, I guess it was Undertaker and Mankind, but you know, Kane, you can throw him into the mix as well as one of those guys that was known for the Boiler Room Brawl matches. I'd like to see that. I think that that would be a match where you know, Daniel Bryan would be the underdog because it would be more of Kane's type of match, and it's Extreme Rules, so you have the stipulations. Better than just doing a random weapons match or a tables match or whatever. I like to see a Boiler Room Brawl between those two at Extreme Rules, but regardless of the case, yeah, I think having Kane wear the mask is a good way to make him a credible challenger for Daniel Bryan. And this next question here from V. Cobb. Hey Aaron, do you think that Kane will get his title shot and become a new WWE World Champion? Also, it seems he's going to put his mask on again, but will he ever confront the Authority and be alone as he was back in the days? Well, as I just mentioned, I do not see him winning the WWE title. I think that he is just going to be a heel challenger to Daniel Bryan, somebody that Daniel Bryan can beat to further his reign as champion. But I can very well see Kane going babyface again and splitting from the Authority and maybe having one last run as the Monster before retiring. Although every time I say that, Kane just keeps changing his character and moving forward, and just you know, he sticks around. So it's hard to say what's going to happen with Kane. It's hard to predict what's going to happen with him because things are always changing, and you think one thing's going to happen and then something else happens. So you never quite know for sure with him. All right, this one comes from Sam's The Fighters. Hey Aaron, what do you think about the Intercontinental title tournament? I personally like it because they are actually doing something again with the title. And do you think the winner of the tournament will end up winning the title? I really like it. I think it's a good way to elevate the IC title as long as the IC title match takes place on the Extreme Rules, the main special event card, and not the pre-show. If it's done on the pre-show, I mean, I am just going to be shaking my head big time, because what would be the point of doing this tournament if you're just going to make it the pre-show match? So I really hope that the match at Extreme Rules does have a high placement on the card, and I do think that the winner of the tournament should get the title. I mean, with all due respect to Big E, Langston, Big E, whatever they want to call him, you know, he's not exactly lighting the world on fire, and I think that having Cesaro, and by the way, Cesaro is my prediction, but you could have Cesaro or Wade Barrett beat Big E for the title, and you know, I think that's best for business at this point. I think that, you know, Wade Barrett is starting to gain some momentum. You know, they're finally putting him in matches, and you know, as dead as that Birmingham crowd was for much of the show, they were reacting to Wade Barrett in a positive manner. So, you know, I could see Wade Barrett maybe being a dark horse here and surprising everybody and winning the title. But I think in all likelihood it's going to be Cesaro, and absolutely I think Cesaro should be Big E Langston for the title. All right, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy Ass. Do you think WWE will extend an invitation for Nancy Gross to appear on Raw like they did with Glenn Beck? I don't really think they should. I don't think that WWE should give her any more publicity. I mean, that's what she thrives on, is people talking about her and working people up and getting them upset. Those people end up tuning in, and when people are talking about her, she's getting the publicity and she's getting more viewers. So I think it's best to just let it go, move on, and just don't acknowledge her at all. Because if you're, she's trolling people basically. So you react to her, she wins. So I would just ignore her. There's no point. Glenn Beck is a slightly more recognizable name, so I could understand them wanting to try and get some publicity. That was WWE's way of trying to get publicity, but obviously this is a different situation where a former WWE talent passed away, and they really don't want to get into a heated argument with her and talking about steroids and all that. I mean, with Glenn Beck, that was a totally different thing. So, I think that it's best to just not bring her up at all. All right, one more question here from WWE fan Dark Arrow. Given Extreme Rules' impressive track record, do you see this one being up to par? Absolutely. Extreme Rules has been one of the better WWE pay-per-views of the past several years, and obviously it has that advantage where every match has a stipulation, so that right there makes it more interesting than your typical pay-per-view or special event. So yeah, I think that the match quality will be really strong, and you have Daniel Bryan in there, I'm sure, in all likelihood, against Kane. That should be a good match regardless of what it is. And Evolution to Shield should be a really good match. I mean, the expectations, I think, will be very high for that one. Cena, Bray Wyatt, hopefully they can pull something off. I mean, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of that segment at all on Raw, but we'll see what happens. They're going to have a cage match at Extreme Rules, and maybe they can make something special. Maybe they can have some magic there. Who knows? But yeah, I do think on paper Extreme Rules is starting to shape up to be a strong card, and I think it'll probably end up being a very good show. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. Tell a friend, anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out NoDQ&A video, and I will see you guys next time for more. Thanks for watching.